All right, so then we'll get a nice functional warm up for a cold morning. So we're gonna start right at the top of the body with some head and neck rolls. So you're gonna bring your chin down and then just full circle if that works okay for your body. Otherwise, you can just go kind of half and half. So you're gonna go around in one direction, come back in the other. And then just keep alternating for a little bit here. So again, you can go all the way around, or if it feels better to just kind of do half and then go back and around to the other half, that's totally fine. It might be easier to just warm up that way, depending on the condition of your neck and upper trap muscles. And all of that obviously relates to maybe what's happening in the shoulders and the other sort of middle trap muscles. All right, so let's finish it up nice and even in both directions. And then from there, you're gonna go into some shoulder rolls. So up, back, and down is typically the shoulder roll position that we're needing to focus on, simply because of the back and all of the forward leaning that we do. Our shoulders don't usually have any issues being forward like this, but we want to improve that posture and position of the back by working on rolling the shoulders up, back, and down, and activating those back and shoulder muscles. So one more time. And then from there, you're just going to bring your fingertips up toward your shoulders, lifting your elbows, and then just drawing circles with your elbows. So we're getting some more shoulder rotation there, a little bit differently. And then let's change the direction here. So there we do start to get a little bit more of that internal rotation. So just getting some warmth, some length, some synovial fluid moving around to get things ready for everything else that we'll do, especially once we get some weights in our hands. And then go ahead and release there, just relax the arms, and then go to the hands and just rotate the hands, wiggling the fingers a little bit to get some activation and some mobility in the wrists. Switching direction. And again, just trying to double up with some good finger movements here. And then gently release. And a really good way to intentionally stretch the fingers. You can do it one hand at a time or both hands. And for efficiency here, I'm going to do it with both at one time. But you're just taking each finger, starting with the thumb, and reaching it towards the center of your palm. When you do that, I mean, depending on your body, of course, you can feel any level of stretching that's happening in those little finger muscles, but also translating right up into the forearms. This is one of my favorite ways right now to kind of stretch in the hands and the fingers. And you can just go through that a couple times. Just kind of observing your fingers and notice as you bring one to the center of your palm, are you able to keep the other four out? Or do you are you unable to do just one at a time or two tending to curl? So that's just functionality, right? So just noticing some of those nuances with some of these stretches is important. All right, from there, we're gonna inhale, stretch our arms overhead, loosely interlock the fingers and stretch side to side, reaching up and reaching over, starting to really feel that length from the low back, from the hips. But we're trying to keep everything at the pelvis and below nice and steady. So we're not swaying the hips, we're stretching up and over. So again, that's just kind of begging the question of what is stable as something else is moving. So let's go ahead and land over to one side just for a moment. And when you're here in a stretch like this, what you want to think of is taking that top shoulder and just kind of pulling it back a little bit to help prevent leaning forward, which would be the tendency for a lot of people. And then come up and go right over to the other side. And same thing here, just drawing that top shoulder just a little bit back. If I said forward before, I meant back. The top shoulder comes back a little bit, the bottom one would come a little bit forward. And then we come up and gently release. From there, let's take our stance a little bit wider and just go into some swing and wraps. Sealing some stuff in from the shoulders to the hips. And then we're going to start working the hips and below. So let's go ahead and release. Bring your hands to your hips, keeping that wide stance, and then do some slow hula hoops here. Slow but thorough. Go ahead and switch the direction. And then gently release. We're going to keep our hands on our hips, bend our knees a little bit and start to warm up the hip hinge. Bending forward. And then once you come up, you're just going to bend back a little bit. So bend the knees as you come forward, maybe almost parallel or parallel, depending on your body, and then back. Let's just do one more of each. And release. So from there, we're going to start to get into a little balance with a little rotation. So you're going to lift one knee, bring the hand across, and just take a little twist. And then release, coming back to center, and then going to the other side. We just finish it up nice and even here. And then we're just going to kind of switch the direction. We're going to open the hip. So hand to same knee, open and close, and then switch. We'll finish it up nice and even here, and then we're going to go into a little bit more of a deeper hip hinge. So your hands are just going to be in front of you, almost like you're setting up to do a deadlift. And then you're just going to pull those hips back, reaching down, maybe not so far this time. Your knees are a little straighter, and then just stand right up. So think of it as just a nice body weight deadlift. We're just going to do a few of them, and then we're going to take it into a hamstring stretch. So on the next one, you're gonna start bringing one foot forward with the heels down, and you're gonna start to reach maybe a little bit further down, and then come up. And then do the other leg. Pressing the heel into the floor is gonna elicit that stretching response a little bit, and then once you hinge and start to reach, you're gonna get even more stretch. So on this time, when you come up, I want you to start sweeping your arms up and around. And that would be sweeping the arms up and around backwards. Excellent. So one more on each side, finishing it up nice and even again. And gently release. So from there, you're just gonna start to pedal out your feet. Lifting and lowering the heel nice and high, pressing through the toes, and moving the hips side to side. And then from there, let's steady that out. And then if it works for your body, just coming into some calf raises. So both feet lifting and lowering. So again, a little opportunity for some stability work here. And then gently release there. Go right into some knee bends. And then release that. And to wrap up this part of the series, you're going to reach one leg a little behind you, but a little out to the side, diagonal, think about, and then pushing the toes down gently and just rotating around the ankle. A little bit in each direction, like 4, 5, 6 times. And then we go ahead and switch it to the other leg. So from there, let's go ahead and come down to a seated position. I'm going to get into some more natural movement, a little bit more into the muscle tissue and out of the joints. Everything's kind of equally important, right? So let's start with some windshield wipers here. Slow and steady. Rest your hands behind you. All right, and then from there, you're gonna bring your feet in, bring your arms around your knees and just stretch up, giving yourself a hug, but lengthening that spine. And then from there, start to draw in at that low, deep core space below your belly button, and then start to release the arms and just roll down into a laying position. You're going to widen your feet again and then just continue those little windshield wiper type movements with the hips. And just notice how different it feels when you do this laying versus sitting. And it might seem so simple, but and depending on your body, it might feel like just such a relief, because if you do a lot of sitting and a lot of seated work, you don't really realize how tight the muscles can get around that area of the pelvis and the hips. So this can really help loosen things up, especially before you get into some strength training. So from there, I want you to then straighten the legs out and just cross one leg over the other, just at the ankle, and then just swish those feet back and forth. It's going to feel much more restrictive, but still you're going to get some good benefits still on the front and sort of the sidelines of the hips. So from there, go ahead and switch, cross the other leg over at the ankle now, and then do the same thing. Alright, so let's go ahead, let that go. Walk your feet up and in here, your butt. Now, arms down at your side. You're gonna go into the set of bridges. Heel those hips off the floor, really squeeze the glutes, and then lower it down. Lift and lower to a hover. Squeezing all of those glute muscles. Keeping your feet grounded, keeping your knees centered. Let's go for 3 more. And then we're going to bring it all the way down. We're going to lift the feet up so the knees are bent at 90. We're going to bring the arms up with the palm facing inward. So now it's really starting to get a little bit more active and symmetric in your deep core stabilizing muscles. And then you're going to go arm and opposite leg. Dead bug. We're not doing a ton of them here, but you want to make sure those core muscles are on and you're not feeling this in your low back. Feeling it in the core is great. And then gently release. After it's done evenly on both sides, hug your knees into your chest and just gently rock side to side, massaging your back. And then from there, you're going to start to roll like a ball a little bit, creating some momentum to just bring yourself up to seated. And then from there, you're going to bring one hand behind you, press that hand down through the mat to just lift your hips. And then mindfully turn yourself over onto all fours. Stretch your hands a little forward. And then on your next exhale, rock your hips back to child's pose. And then on your next inhale, rock forward to tabletop. Exhale back. Inhale forward. So now you're going to land back in child's pose. You're going to sit back, hips to heels. And then from there, you're going to rise up into a tall kneeling position. You're going to step 1 foot forward, and then you're going to stand up onto both feet. Trying not to use your hands to press off your leg, but using the strength in your core. Take that same leg back, and then come down onto one knee, and then the other. And then you're going to lead with the other leg this time. Step the foot forward. Step the other one through so you're standing. And then go back and down. So just looking and noticing how that all feels for you, knowing that it's something good to work on, because being able to get up and off the floor at any age is really imperative, especially if you happen to live alone. So from there, you're going to use the opposite hand that you used the first time to flip over onto all fours. Now you're going to use the opposite hand to support you as you mindfully flip back around and come back to seated. From there, we're going to roll back down to seated position. Arms resting at the side nice and easy, and I want you to go through some pelvic tilt. So you can think about inhale, a little arch of the back off the floor. And then exhale, just drawing in into those muscles below your belly button. Inhale, arch the back a little bit. Exhale, contract those muscles. Try not to tighten the glutes too much. That's just taking away from those deep core stabilizing muscles, the transverse abs, and other back muscles when we over tighten the glutes in this particular exercise. So keep going with that for just a little bit longer. And just observe your back as you move through this, like how close is your low back moving to the floor, against the floor? Everybody's spine is a little different. Everybody's function is a little different. But getting the back closer to the floor, that means that those muscles inherently are stronger and are firing well. It does not mean that they need to be flat glued against the floor, but it means that you've got some control and some strength there. And having some control on the other end of being able to arch the back a little bit is another good hint to me that you have a little bit more control over your body than your body actually controlling you, which I think is good in a manner of speaking on that just sort of movement, because we don't want the pelvis to be too locked up and immobile, because that's just going to translate up and down. So if you've got the ability to feel that pelvis kind of rocking forward as you arch your back and rocking back as you're doing that contraction, that's just good mobility. All right. So go ahead and just find a nice neutral position here where it's not too much effort to hold it. And then I want you to bring one hand to your chest, one hand to your belly. We're just going to wrap it up with some breathing. So big inhale through the nose, slow and steady. Big exhale, slower and more steady, either out of the nose or out of the mouth. So notice what happens as you take that big inhale. And what happens as you take that big exhale. So try to make your target 4 counts on the inhale. And 6 counts on the exhale. Couple more. Inhale. Hopefully feeling some expansion at the rib cage. We're breathing through the diaphragm and feel that expansion on that inhale, maybe even into the sidelines and into the back. And as you exhale, feeling everything soften. On your inhale, hopefully you're even feeling your belly expand, so lower in that torso cavity. And exhale, feel that low back soften. All right, so good breath, good breathing patterns, which is where the irregular practice is also a great indicator for how the rest of our body move. So we are totally ready now to move on.